Can Ilia Topuria become a freeweight world champion? Well, let's find out in this video. I'm going to be doing a tier list. We're going to be going through the whole top 15. And we're going to add in Shavkat too, because he's definitely a top 15 fighter, proved against Ian Gary, you know. So yeah, let's start this video with Daniel Rodriguez. But let's be real. Ilia would dominate D-Rod. D-Rod is a physical guy, he's pretty tough, but he'd probably get finished, right? Or at least lose a decision. To be fair, at 170, I don't think Ilia's power would stand out, so maybe he'd just get a decision, get his ass whooped. But, I mean, the D-Rod blitz, you never know. Maybe he could out physicality in, you know, you never know. But, come on, Ilia's levels above D-Rod, let's be real. D-Rod doesn't even belong in the top 15. I mean, fighters like Mukhtabek Urabai would destroy this guy, you know. There's real top 15 talent, but yeah, D-Rod's in the top 15 and he doesn't stand a chance. Now onto Uros Medic. Actually a really tough fight. I'd go with Ilia would probably beat Uros Medic because people forget. He got knocked out by Puna. People forget, man. He got knocked out by Punahele Soriano, who's a bit of a short, stocky guy. Not as stocky as Ilia, but he's really dangerous, and there's a chance Ilia Topuria will get slimed early, because Ilia is a very small guy. He's not by the way, I don't think 170 is a good move for him. He's talking about it, that's why I'm making this video, but I would suggest him, don't go to 170, brother. You're too small. But I still believe he beats a lot of guys here. Yeah, I think he would probably beat Uros Medic. Uros Medic has a lot of power early. He's really dangerous. There's a real chance he would knock out. But I think knock out Ilia. But I'd trust him to survive round 1 and then maybe win a 29-28 or maybe finish him late, to be honest. Medic gets finished. I think you'd have to back him up against the fence, rip to the body, you know, go up to the head, maybe get a TKO there. Yeah, Ilia Topuria is a couple levels above Uros Medic skill-wise. But there is a raw power and size could knock out Ilia Topuria here, so I don't think he would dominate, because he could dominate the fight, but there's a real chance he gets slapped, so I think he'd probably win this, but I'd be nervous for him, you know. I'd be nervous. Now onto a really hard matchup, Michael Venom Page. This is a really hard fight. Does he beat MVP? Because this is a weird stuff. MVP's 6'2", is tall. His grappling defense is not the best, so Ilia would have to grapple against him. I'd say it's probably a 50-50, you know. I'd say it's probably a 50-50. MVP has the most awkward style, and I don't like the guy. Dude, you're boring as fuck. Throw more than 5 punches around, brother. Please. I that last fight against Sam Passin. Oh my god, that was awful. But anyway, on to this matchup. Ilia might lose to MVP, you know. I don't even rate MVP. Ilia's obviously a more skilled fighter than MVP, but he's gonna be so much bigger than Ilia. And on the feet, I don't think Ilia's gonna be able to hit him. MVP's gonna dance around, use his range, blitz him with the overhand, maybe like long rangey kicks, leg kicks, side kicks. You know, he's a karate background. I'm sure he has these in his arsenal. Front kicks. Flying knee would be money. Flying knees would be money when Ilia dips low, you know, because he's 5'7", really small guy. Now more I think about it, I think Ilia would probably lose this match. I don't rate MVP. I just think this is an awful matchup. And could Ilia get the grappling off? I don't think he'd have the physical... Oh, you know, Gary did, you know. Gary did get the grappling off. Gary's also a tall, rangy striker, but he got the grappling off. Ilia's a really good grappler, has a really low centre of gravity, so he can be able to get to those legs quick. But to be fair, I don't think he's even going to be able to close the distance, because MVP's going to be moving around so much on the back foot, getting clipped on the way in, you know. And Ilia, I don't think Ilia will be able to hit him on the feet. And I think at least I don't see him really being able to get to him to take him down easily. And MVP's takedown defense is okay. Kevin Holland took him down though. This is really, you know what? I might change this. I'm gonna say 50-50 because of Ilia's grappling. But that's a really, really stylistically a tough fight. Now on to Mike Malott. I think Ilia would probably beat Mike Malott. To be fair, Mike Malott is really good, but he's a bit of a simpleton. He's, you know, textbook. He's not awkward to create Ilia some hard difficulties, you know. Yeah, I'd pick Ilia here, probably by points, or even a knockout maybe, you know. Mike Malott's really good, and he did dominate Burns, and even in the Magny fight, he was dominating that fight, and then just got, you know, the third round Neil Magny came out, dude. He's at the GM3 of welterweight. Neil Magny's no joke. But I would, I'd go, of course I'd go with Ilia here. He's just a more skilled fighter. Does he have the power difference? I reckon he'd probably win on points here. To be able to outbox him, pressure him. Mike Malot's not also, he's not the tallest. How tall? Is he like 6? Maybe he's 6'1". I have a feeling he's like 5'11". He could be like 6'1", maybe he is 6'1". It's still a hard fight for Ilia, but I'd go 60-40 Ilia. I'd go 60-40 Ilia. Mike Malot's a skilled fighter, but Ilia's just a different level. And even at 170, I think pressure, jabs to the body, jabs to the head, calf kicks, pressuring in. I reckon he'd win at least a 29-28 decision here, At least. So yeah, now on to Yaroslav Amosov. This is a really hard fight for Ilia, but still winnable. I'm going to say a 50-50, and here's why. There's a chance Amosov bullies him and destroys him with the grappling, really possible. There's also a chance that we saw against Jason Jackson, where Amosov couldn't get any takedowns off and he looked like shit on the feet. And the spam takedowns couldn't get any gassed and got flatlined. Amosov's really good and he looked amazing against Alvarez and looked great against Magny. And this is a 50-50 fight because Ilia is 5'7" small. There's a real chance he gets out physicality, slammed around, subbed, or just dominated for 3 rounds, Really possible. But Amosov, although he is, I think Amosov's a decent striker. When he's extended on the feet, he's a bit of a bitch on the feet. He's bitchable, he's bullyable. You can push this guy around, you can rip to the body, and he don't like it. Against Jackson, he don't like getting hit, bro. And he was a big favourite in that fight and he lost. And has he improved? Yes. But getting flatlined by Jason Jackson, I don't think you're probably going to beat. I still think it's a 50-50 because Ilia's a small guy. Ilia's a really small guy, so I'd still say a 50-50 definitely. Because there's a 50% chance he dominates with the grappling. There's a 50% chance I think Ilia could stuff his takedowns and then fuck him up on the feet in moments, Maybe win a decision. Maybe knock him out, dude. Maybe knock him out. Because Jason Jackson's a big guy, don't get me wrong, and he's different to Ilia, but he made him look like a bitch on the feet. So, yeah, that's also such a sick fight. Will it ever happen? No. Amosov's also still really good. His grappling's really, really good. And his striking's good as well, but he's a bit of a bitch on the feet. He don't like it. He's on the back foot. Don't like it. Get away, He don't like getting hit on the feet, dude. So, yeah, 50-50 fight there. That's a great fight. Now on to Joaquin Buckley. I think Ilia would dominate Buckley. I don't rate Buckley at all. There was at one point where I thought this guy could contend for the belt. Can't believe it. And I picked Usman to beat him, though. But I did think at one point he would have beat Bilal. And maybe he could have beat Bilal, because Bilal's pretty shit. But I don't rate Buckley. What's Buckley going to do? Buckley ain't going to take down Ilia. And if he does, Ilia will get right back up. I could maybe see him exploding him, taking him down, and Ilia gets right back up. Buckley's striking's pretty shit. He's a powerful guy, so maybe he could rock Ilia, He has decent kicks, I guess. But Ilia would probably out-grapple him. Sean Brady's a short guy. And Sean Brady kind of mogged, he's a bit taller than him, Buckley. Buckley's not big, so Ilia would definitely be smaller, but it wouldn't be like crazy like some guys in this division, So yeah, I just don't see, but what's Buckley going to do? Buckley would get pieced up on the feet, he'd get dominated, 30-27. Get his ass kicked by Ilia. He doesn't have a chance. He doesn't have a chance here, So yeah, I'd definitely go with Ilia, that's not a question. And I can't believe Joaquin Buckley was like, this guy's going to contend for the belt. He's in top 5. No. He's sloppy on the feet. His striking's piss poor. He's an athletic, powerful dude, but that's about it. And he can't grapple. Especially defensively, anyway. Now, on to Kamaru Usman. Where do I put Kamaru Usman? Because he's a big guy. Oh, that's tough. I'd probably go Ilia 60-40. Could be a 50-50. He's old though, man. And he got the grappling off against Buckley, but Buckley is not a good grappler at all. And I think Ilia could stop the takedowns. And at 38 years old, I think he'd piece him up on the feet. I would pick Ilia. I think he'd have the ability to stop the takedowns and piece him up on the feet. Yeah, I can't lie. Yeah, I think Ilia would probably win that. He'd have to stop the takedowns. Can he stop the takedowns? I think he can. Usman's a great grappler, don't get me wrong, but lighter man skill grappling tends to show up. And I know featherweight, he's a small guy, and against top guys, I will pick them to beat Ilia, but I think jabs to the body, I think he'd outbox Usman. And Usman can box, he got a good jab. good straight. But against Buckley, he looked like a victim on the feet, and his striking was kind of piss poor. His striking looked pretty bad in that fight, and his grappling was great, don't get me wrong, but Buckley can't defend takedowns, so, Usman, he could win. It's definitely a close fight, but I would go lean Ilia on the feet. I just think his boxing and his calf kicks as well, dude. That's a big weapon here. Usman's old, frail, old man. I think he'd beat Usman. Tough fight, though. Now on to Leon Rocky Edwards. That's 3 fights in a row. I believe it's a fight for the title. Leon Edwards, dude. Lost 3 in a row. Washed. I think Ilia would win. Is it dominate? I don't think it'd be domination, He's a tall ranging kickboxer. I'll go over Ilia would probably win 70-30, 80-20. Could be dominant. I think it would be like a competitive fight, though. He's a bit chinny too, but Ilia's power probably is not Prata's level power, I think he'd piece up Leon Edwards. Too much aggression, too much power. Leon Edwards, he could leg kick at range, move around, high kicks, body kicks, front kicks, keep him at range, long rangey jabs. It's a winnable. There's a path to victory for Leon Edwards. Don't get me wrong, but his momentum's at an all-time low. He doesn't really believe in himself anymore. He's pretty chinny. He ain't going to take down Ilia Topuria, Could Ilia take down Edwards? Yeah, probably. I believe he could. Would that be like a complete, his game plan? Probably not. I'd favour Ilia's striking, his boxing, his aggression on the feet, body shots, his body combos are lovely, man. Calf kicks here. So yeah, I'd probably go with Ilia by decision. Maybe a knockout. Maybe like a 3rd round TKO or even a 2nd round knockout, Maybe, but I'd go with Ilia. Leon Edwards is kind of washed, and I've heard he's fighting Urabai, and he's going to lose again, bro. So yeah, Leon Edwards ain't gonna beat Ilia, I don't believe. There's a chance he could. Guess why? Probably is a chance. Kicking range, obviously, he could fuck up Ilia with kicks, but I think he'd pressure him to close the distance and probably knock him out or win a decision. So yeah, now on to Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. I think Ilia would dominate Bilal, probably beat him 49, if it's a 5 round, 49-46, 50-45, 30-27 him. What's Bilal really gonna do? His takedowns aren't good. His takedowns aren't good. And he did dunk Leon on his head. Maybe he's too physically strong for Ilia. Maybe he's too physically strong. So maybe I could put it in probably wins, but I think he'd get dominated. I see him being able to stop the takedowns. It's a striking fight, and Bilal is a big guy, but he's so much less skilled, and he's old, and he has 0 pop in his hands. He has no power. Maybe against a small guy, but nah, dude, Ilia has a granite chin, so Ilia would fuck up Bilal Muhammad, definitely. Yeah, Ilia would. He'd 50-45 him like JDM, but he probably, worse. Probably worse. He'd probably pressure in, jabs to the body, jabs. Just fuck him up with the boxing, man. And the digs to the body up against the fence would be lovely, dude. The overhands, calf kicks. Dude, Bonfim was tearing up his calf kick. His calves with calf kicks, Ilia would definitely... I think he'd dominate Bilal Muhammad, can't lie, bro. I see him being a striker. Maybe he could be too physically strong, but his grappling has not been looking all good, and his fight IQ recently has been piss poor, so yeah. Ilia would dominate. Now on to Sean Brady. I'd definitely go with Ilia. He'd probably win. Although Bilal beat Sean Brady, at this stage in their career, I'd pick Sean Brady in a rematch, and Sean Brady's a physical guy. He's a strong guy. His BJJ, when he gets to the mat, and his control is really, really good. Maybe he could explode in and take down Ilia round after round. I don't see him finishing him, but he could take down round after round, That is very possible. That could definitely happen. Sean Brady's such a good grappler on the ground. His striking's also pretty decent. And I know he lost to Michael Morales, but Morales is a fucking genetic. He's a freak human, dude. The guy's so big. And he had that little zesty stance. He's 6'2". Ilia ain't gonna do that. But I think Ilia, the pressure, the volume, the boxing, the power, he could knock out Sean Brady. And when Sean Brady's stuck on the feet, we've seen twice when he's stuck on the feet, the guy basically quit and wilted, said, ooh, don't like it, no. He don't like getting hit, dude. He's not a savage fighter. He's a grappler who is a great fighter, but he ain't a fucking true savage like some fighters. Like Carlos Prates is never going to wilt on the feet. ever. Even Ian Gary. I know he's a bit of a bitch the way he speaks. He will never wilt on the feet or Shavkat, you know? So I'd go with Ilia, like a decision, maybe a knockout. Could be a knockout, because Sean Brady does seem to be a bit chinny, or like kind of quits on the feet when he's stuck there. So, yeah, I'd go with Ilia. But that's a competitive fight. It's definitely a close fight. He definitely could be too physical and win. Different than Bilal. And his control's a lot better than Bilal. So yeah. Now on to Gabriel Bonfim. And I'm high on Bonfim. And this is the first fight I'd pick not confidently, but I think he'd probably beat Ilia. I don't think he's too big. And I think like he'd keep him at range with calf kicks and long rangey jabs and 1-2s. Nicholas Dalby did break him low with pressure, and that would be the game plan for Ilia, to pressure in, kind of rough him up, you know. Make it an ugly fight. Get up close with him, rip to the body. Bonfim's a good grappler too, so maybe he could take down Ilia. Probably not. Low center of gravity guy. He'd see it coming. I reckon he'd be able to stop takedowns off Bonfim. Probably. Because Bonfim doesn't have like an Islam Makhachev where he can fail the first one, chain it together, push you up against the face, judo throw, slam you down, or chain another takedown, or maybe Islam will shoot a takedown, throw a knee, go back to the legs, you know? So I think he'd probably lose to Bonfim. 70-30. There's a chance Ilia could break him, like we saw in the Nicholas Dalby fight, where maybe Ilia, if it's a 5-round, can weather an early storm, round 4 and 5, come through, rip to the body, you know, get up close, make it ugly, and finish him. But I think Bonfim, keep him at range, pick him apart at range, win a decision there. Probably. Ilia's too small, bro. He's too small, and he's not 170. And Ilia never... I know, obviously, Ilia's going to be watching this video. Don't ever move up to 170, bro. You're too small. Even though I think you beat a lot of the guys, as I've said. You're too small, bro. You're really a featherweight. You're pushing it to be a lightweight. So, yeah. I'd go with Bonfim decision. And now on to JDM. I'd go with... 50 feet. It's close. Nah. I'd go with Ilia 60-40 here, decision. JDM's good, dude. And these people who hate on JDM, he's a really good fighter. Is he an elite fighter? And he had the belt, which is a crazy thing to say. I don't think JDM's an elite fighter. I just think he's a really, really good fighter. But yeah, he loses to elite fighters, and Ilia is an elite fighter, and I know he's small. It's a really competitive fight, though. It's 60-40 Ilia, but... You know, the calf kick, that's going to be a weapon. That's going to be a weapon. And it's going to probably be a boxing match. Could Ilia take him down? Yeah, it's possible. He did stop takedowns from Bilal, so I think he'd be able to stop takedowns from Ilia. We haven't seen his takedown game that crazy against really high-level comp, but maybe he can take ragdoll him. You know, on the feet, JDM's not the biggest guy. 5'11", you know, 5'10". Ilia's small, 5'7", but... I think he'd probably win a decision. I think it'd be a really competitive fight, but he'd kind of piece up. Might come, we'll get on to Morales in a minute. JDM in moments, you know. Jab him up, jabs to the body. JDM would definitely land on him. Definitely land his jabs, his combos, his 1-2-3s, rips to the body. JDM's a great boxer, dude. So yeah, I'd go with Ilia. I think Ilia would probably beat JDM, but it's low-key could be a 50-50, but I think JDM would probably win that fight. I'd pick Ilia, but I think JDM would probably lose that fight, you know? I think JDM would lose, but it's close. It's a close fight. JDM's a good dude. Now on to Michael Morales. This matchup would be ridiculous if it ever happened. This is a stupid fight. Michael Morales would annihilate Ilia because he's just way too small. Ilia would get absolutely shut out and destroyed like Sean Brady did in the round, dude. He'd just use a zesty stance, keep him away, and just club him with these big, ugly-looking punches that hit with the thumb and the wrist, and these big, ugly overhands, and these uppercuts, and these left hooks. He has a good jab, though, long-rangey jab. Ilia ain't going to be able to hit him. He's going to get knocked out like Sean Brady did in a round. There's not much to say here, dude. Ilia's too small. I don't even rate Michael Morales that much, but the guy's a genetic freak, and I think he'd lose to a lot of the top guys, but against Ilia, like, Ilia would get absolutely destroyed. Destroyed here and finished in a round, so yeah. Morales is too big. Now we're getting to the top guys. This is where Ilia's luck ran out. Carlos Prates would dominate, he'd dominate him, dude. He'd dominate Ilia. Prates is just too good on the feet, and he's too tall, and he's too rangy and too powerful. He'd knock out Ilia in 3 rounds, definitely. There's an element where Ilia can grapple here, and Prates been taken down by JDM, taken down by Gary. But what happened in all those fights? He got up. He got up, and JDM was kind of by surprise, but he got up in all those fights. And Ilia could take down Prates, but I don't think he's going to be able to close the distance, because 5'7" versus 6'2", he's going to get kneed the shit out of and knocked out, and probably, maybe in 2 rounds, I'd say. Calf kick, keep him at range, body kick, head kicks for Prates, you know. He has nasty front kicks too. He doesn't have a chance here. He's gonna destroy and dominate Ilia. Prates is too good, bro, and he's way too dangerous for Ilia. Way too dangerous for Ilia. So yeah, I'd confidently pick Prates to destroy him. Stylistically, he doesn't have a chance. Now on to Ian Machado Gary. I think Ilia would 50-45. Ilia would get 50-45 by Ian Gary. He doesn't have a chance. Again, the tall, rangy strikers, they're just too big for him, dude. The guy is not a 170-pounder in the slightest. Ian Gary would just keep him at range, blast oblique kicks, blast leg kicks. Bilal did make it competitive in moments, though, so you never know. Maybe Ilia can make it competitive, but I kind of doubt that. 5'7's too small. He's just going to get kicked the shit out of. Maybe even finish, but if it's 5 rounds, just kick the shit out of round after round after round. Body kicks, front kicks, jabs to the body, jabs to the head. He doesn't have a chance here, you know. Maybe, you know, the uppercut that he landed on Prates, that's going to land on Ilia. And at 170, his power's probably not going to stand out at all, so... yeah, he ain't going to take down Gary. Gary has good grappling in his own right. He doesn't have a chance here, you know. Gary would piece him up, win every round probably. Now on to, although not in the top 15, I have to include him, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Out for an injury, the guy's a great fighter. Ilia will get dominated by Shavkat, dude. He's just too small. He's just too small, and that's what it comes down to. He's just too small. And in the clinch, dude, the strength advantage would be crazy. I think Shavkat would actually finish him by TKO with elbows in the clinch and knees. Shavkat is so nasty in the clinch. So nasty in the clinch. And he could take down Ilia, I'm sure, with the strength advantage. But I think he'd smash elbows in the clinch, dude. And this is a weird example. Finish him probably like Talasin Teixeira against Justin Tarfo-esque finish there. He'll throw knees to the body and elbows, finish him up against the fence. And on the feet, the guy's too tall and rangy, bro. And Jeff Neal put hands on him. Ilia can land in moments, probably, but he's just too small, dude. And his power, he ain't going to knock out Shavkat, that big blockhead, dude. It's not happening. So, yeah, I think Shavkat would dominate him. Wheel kicks, his good wheel kicks, kicking range on the feet. Then, when he wants to get in close, shoot a takedown, put him up against the fence. Maybe not get it, but just shoot it just to get close. Get the tight clinch, smash knees and elbows, and finish Ilia from there, dude. He's just too small. Now onto the fight we all want to see. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. This is a super fight. And I think stylistically Ilia could win, but at 170 I think he'd probably lose. Makhachev's different to these tall, rangy guys. I'd pick Makhachev to beat all these guys, right? But he's not a genetic phenom who's 6 foot, above 6 foot. He's not a big guy for welterweight. And at lightweight, I'd pick Ilia. I think Ilia at lightweight and featherweight's an unbeatable fighter. But at welterweight, the guy's just too small, bro. And I think stylistically, he could beat Islam. But I'd go with Islam to dominate with the grappling. I have him probably win, because I think there's a chance, you know. The size difference would be big, but it wouldn't be ridiculous like against these guys. So I think there's a chance Ilia could knock him out on the feet and pressure in and getting close and defend the takedowns. Poirier defended the takedowns, but at 170 it's probably going to be a different level of strength, right? I'd go for Islam to dominate with the grapple. You know what? I think he probably would get dominated. I'd pick him to get dominated, but I think there's a... yeah. Nah, Ilia would get dominated by Islam at 170. I think he'd get 50-45 to the grappling, I'll be real. I know stylistically, Makhachev's not the biggest guy. And, you know, in the past, he's looked beatable. Volk did make him look beatable. I know at lightweight it's different, but Volk made him look beatable, and so did Poirier. You know, I'll switch back, bro. Volk did great, and he's a short, stocky guy, and he defended the takedown. I think Ilia would have added strength at 170, and in moments he'd be able to defend the takedown. But I think he would get ragdolled and probably lose at least a 3-2 or 4-1 decision to Islam. But yeah, I think, you know, he'd have a shot against Islam. Stylistically, he'd have a shot. And at lightweight, I'd pick him. I believe Ilia is an amazing fighter, but I don't really see him being Islam, to be fair. I just don't see it, dude. At 170, the guy's just not big enough, dude. He's not a 170 pounder. And from the lesson we learned in this video, Ilia's brilliant, but don't move up to 170. You're too small, bro. You're a featherweight, really. You can be a lightweight, but yeah, you know, Ilia ain't a 170 pounder, bro. I think he'd get fucked up by the whole top 5, you know. I really do. And even guys like MVP, stylistically, can beat him, you know. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I would pick Islam by a 4-1 decision, just to make it clear. I think he probably would dominate, but Ilia stylistically has a chance because Volk did it. But yeah, it's the end of the video. Like, subscribe, do like good stuff. See you next time. Goodbye.